Through the concrete cracks worn weary by work boots and high heels. Through the concrete cracks showered in tears of sorrow, tears of joy. Through the concrete cracks rumbled by reverberations of 100 years, a flower on the hill takes its first breath, and a grand hope springs. Welcome to the Spring Street podcast at the intersection of creation and destruction in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. And now, a word from the sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by Starship Kairos, a podcast studio available for bookings in downtown Los Angeles. Starship Kairos is where my guests and I make this show happen. Soundproofed, cozy, and equipped with professional audio gear, Starship Kairos is an ideal location for any type of podcast. Starship Kairos offers a full suite of services including content consultation, mixing and mastering, and custom jingle writing. For rates and booking, check them out on Instagram at Starship Kairos or click on the link in the description. And now, let's dive in. All right. Well, Ashlee, we're live on the Spring Street podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here in Nathan and Lexi's van.
I know. I'm excited. I just learned about your podcast 3 days ago, maybe. Just met you 3 days ago, and here we are.
I know. It's so crazy that right now, for those people who can't see outside of this van, we're like in a circle of, how many of us are there? Like 12 different vehicles?
Yeah, probably more. 12, 15. Yeah.
And just about, 3 days ago, like pretty much nobody knew.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone here.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this week.
So how did you and Kenny find out about Skooliepalooza?
I think I got a targeted ad on Instagram or something because I never heard about it. I haven't, been in this world for very long, and we were just in Arizona, and I saw something pop up that said Skooliepalooza, and I noticed the dates were in January. We were going to be here in Arizona most of January, and we decided to come. So, wow, pretty random.
Just on a whim.
Yeah.
What was the ad? Idea. Was it just kind of like, van gathering? Like what thoughts did you have? Going into it,
it spoke like community to me for sure. Van gathering. I didn't even know. I had to do some research because it's called Skooliepalooza, so I didn't know. Are we allowed to go? Do you have to have a school bus? Like, how specific is it? But it just seemed like a cool place to be. And we do have some experience with festivals and kind of meetups like this outside of the road life, community, and so. We've been looking for something like this, and it's been like perfect, just what we wanted.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the beginning of your guys' journey.
Okay, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. So what inspired you guys to live out on the road and live this kind of nomadic lifestyle?
Yeah, I feel like it's evolved over time. I've always had an interest in just living unconventionally. I've been very drawn to this lifestyle for years. It took off maybe in the last 10 years or so, where it's way more common now to buy a van, build it out, travel the world. And I grew up traveling, so I've always had that, I guess, ache inside of me, but it just, the timing never really worked out. I had other things I had to do in my 20s. And so, it wasn't until really just like early 2023, maybe even like summertime, so not that long ago, when we realized like we might want to move somewhere else. We didn't know if we'd want to stay in Colorado, but didn't know what was next. And it just felt like we wanted something adventurous and different. And, we didn't know where we would land. So this feels like a good in-between. But we're just really enjoying it already, and we're not looking to stop anytime soon. So, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your rig.
We are in a Class C RV. It's pretty big. It's 32 feet long, but we have bikes on the back and a motorcycle on the front. So we look kind of monstrous going down the road.
You got everything you need.
Yeah. So it's nice when we're like parked out on BLM because we can just take the motorcycle into town. We've done that a handful of times, or go rip around the desert and explore, which has been fun. The street bike the road bikes, we haven't used a bunch yet, just like in the cities a couple times, but it's a good rig, and it's like pretty reliable so far, knock on wood. and it's really cozy. We didn't have to do a ton of work to it. We kind of wanted something that was like turnkey, ready to go.
Yeah. Did you guys add the solar panels on top?
The solar was already there. So
Sweet.
the previous owners did new flooring and solar panels, ripped out all the old RV furniture and just made it cozier. And then we added our personal touches to it. So I feel like we're still getting used to it. We've only been on the road a few months, but it's a good fit. So
holy shit.
What's happening?
Can you see that? Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Someone's parasailing? I don't even know what that is.
I think that
it just took off.
Yeah, that was insane. All right. So no people watching this. I just saw some dude with like a gigantic fan and a parachute just like sail off into the distance.
That's the desert for you.
Wow.
That was cool.
Man, the things that happen at Skooliepalooza, very unpredictable. That was insane.
Some weird stuff here. There's a farm here. A farm.
Yep,
Did you see the farm
the traveling
on wheels?
farm with the chickens and the goats and the ducks.
And the ducks, yep.
Did you have her burritos?
No, I've gone by a couple mornings and I think I'm always too late. I need to go earlier. But I want to try a duck egg. I haven't tried one yet.
I feel like I've had a duck egg at some point. But yeah, I know. Apparently she makes some pretty bomb burritos.
Yeah. I need to try one from the traveling farm.
Yeah.
Just to say that I did.
So being here at Skooliepalooza, you're surrounded by so many different rigs. School buses, vans, RVs, trailers, ambulances, literally every type of thing that like people could live in.
Yeah.
Has it given you any kind of inspiration in terms of like thinking about future ways of traveling? Have there been any kind of rigs that have like really called to you?
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring because Kenny and I don't have very many friends that are doing this or very many direct references. So when we started talking about it, we kind of went back and forth on, should we do the van life thing or should we do a truck camper? I didn't really know about schoolies as much. Should we do an RV? So the school bus thing is like very new to me and it's fun to see how personalized people get with it because you just build it out, from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with a lot of the vans too. So we've had a little bit of FOMO feeling like we could have, done a way cooler build or like put a ton more work into it, but we just acted so fast and got what we could afford, used what we could find. And I think that's important because it's really easy to feel like having access to a really cool rig that's like perfectly built and super aesthetic, that can feel like a barrier to start. And I think I felt that kind of inhibition, but it feels really good to just like get out there and do it. And we just, acted super fast, bought like the third RV that we looked at and then got on the road. So,
wow.
Yeah, but definitely we're getting inspired and I feel like we could see ourselves building something in the future, just continuing to gather like more inspiration and information. We've never built anything from scratch, so we would have to learn a lot. But
one thing that's crazy about this community is like that's a very common part of everyone's story is so many people had never even picked up a power tool before they built their rig. And so it's really inspiring because it's creating this whole new generation of people who are like becoming really handy and picking up carpentry skills and like all these things that seem daunting when you've never done it before. And the next thing you know, you're like looking at something that you built yourself.
Yeah. And using their creativity in a really cool way because it's easy to just, buy a house on the market and kind of nothing wrong with that, but have it be just what it is and not put like a ton of love into it or a ton of personality, but just even seeing like all of the rigs here in our circle and each one is so different and unique. And I would love to do that in the future when we have a little bit more resources or money or time, really create something that feels like us. But I also really like Harvey the RV and
Harvey the RV.
He's doing good so far.
That's pretty adorable.
Yeah.
How'd you guys come up with that name?
It rhymes. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Harvey the RV.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I'm
cool.
sure there's a lot of Harvey the RVs out there, but I like ours.
Now, in your guys' friend group back home, had you guys known anybody who had gone off on a similar kind of adventure, or were you guys like the first? out of the people that you know?
Kind of. Yeah, I feel like I have friends in California because we've lived in California and Colorado. And I have friends that have bought vans and some have converted them. Some are kind of, working on a conversion slowly and just take it camping on the weekends. So I've definitely been exposed to vans or seen like a couple examples of how people built them out. But I haven't fully, I don't really have a ton of like first person friends or people I know directly that have just lived on the road. And it does feel new and different. And it feels like a little scary because we were the first ones to like venture out. I didn't really have people to ask their advice or anything. So we had a couple friends like live temporarily on the road. So we did ask them about, what did you like about your RV or what should we look for? But I feel like we're kind of in new territory and just learning as we go. Yeah.
So on that note, how does the dream compare with the reality?
That's a great question. I've been reflecting on this a lot because it's really easy to romanticize something when you want to do it, you want to try road life, and it just seems really exciting and free, and it really is, but it's also I felt really anxious like before we left. I was really nervous about just, is it going to like live up to all this hype? And I felt nervous about meeting people on the road and feeling comfortable. And I wanted to feel like I was still being myself and not trying to be someone I'm not. So I had a lot of anxiety. And then you put on top of that, like, we've never, I've bought cars or I've owned cars. I've never owned a house on wheels.
Yeah.
I've never like taken care of a house on wheels. And when we were leaving Denver, just like rattling, it kind of rattles. It's a big RV. So rattling down the highway, and I just felt so nervous, like, what's going to break? What are we getting into?
Yeah.
And there's just little bits about like the reality of road life that feel, just like real life. And it's not always, it hasn't always been like butterflies and rainbows. It's been beautiful. This week has been awesome and has been full of rainbows, but it's challenging. But the way I see it is that life in an apartment is challenging too. And
totally,
you're going to have like, challenges no matter where you live, whatever city you're in, whatever type of rig you're in. So there's pros and cons to everything. And I think we're learning that, the dream, it really is like awesome. And it's been super fun. And then there's just little parts of the reality that like come along with it. But
what do you think were some of those challenges that, because I think there's maybe two types of challenges. There's the type of challenges where it's a hurdle you get over and you adapt to. And then there's a type of challenge that's kind of like baked into the equation. What do you think that those have been for you guys? Like the adjustments, but then the thing that like is a challenge just because of being nomadic.
The nature of it. Yeah. I think some of the challenges that are just the nature of the lifestyle are like, it's a Sunday. It would be so nice to wake up late and make breakfast and chill, but we have to get to the next place because I work tomorrow. So we need to pack up, find a place to dump the black and gray water, refill, get that, and it takes all the logistics are definitely baked in that have felt challenging on certain days. But they also just feel like, necessary, or they are necessary for what the lifestyle is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel, at least not yet, it doesn't feel impossible. I feel like whether we've been lucky or just it's been going pretty well where, you do a little bit of research, you find out where to dump your water, where to fill, where to camp next, and put a little bit of planning into it, and it's not too bad. So I guess those challenges come along with it. But I feel like the other challenges that were unexpected are like being away from home, being away from friends. And I've always kind of felt like I have a lot of people around the world that I love. And I've lived in several places where I have great friends that I feel like I'm always missing someone. And it's been really interesting to be on the road. And that's kind of amplified because I feel like I can't keep up with making sure I'm touching base with people and, wanting to make sure I'm present in their lives, but also we're not in Colorado anymore. We're not in California anymore. Like we're wherever we are, you know, today. And that's been challenging for me because it's just really important to me to be a good friend and be there for my friends and my family. And that's been an adjustment to be like, to almost feel like we're in our own little world, even though we're out in the world, you know, doing new things. So
what is the rhythm kind of like with your guys' travel? Are you pretty much moving from place to place every week? Are you staying in some places for a few weeks at a time? What does that look like for you and Kenny?
Yeah, we're still pretty new to it. So it's been, I feel like we went fast the first month or so because we were trying to get to family for holidays, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And so we were
it's kind of a lot packed
going
in
really fast.
Few months.
Yeah. And we were trying to get out of like the cold weather. So we moved through Utah really fast and tried to get to California and then came down here to Arizona. So we haven't, I feel like we're just starting to get into that flow, like probably since New Year's. So it wasn't even that long ago, but we've been staying with like a couple friends along the way. And so we kind of break up the trip that way, which has been nice to really like, you know, like I said, I miss my friends and family. So we're trying to see whoever we can along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're finding a rhythm where we're kind of doing our own thing. Like we'll go park on BLM for a week or so. And I work, so I have to like be present for that, you know, Monday to Friday. And then usually it's been like Sunday we pack up and try to get to the next spot so that we can get set up and be somewhere new or keep advancing. There's been a couple times where we've stayed through the weekend to make sure we can really enjoy a place. But I do want to slow down because it feels like we've been going fast.
Yeah.
But it's also hard because there's like a lot to...
There's a lot to see.
Yeah, we're excited. So it's like... Yeah, I don't want to go too slow.
I did a tour like many years ago where we were going across the entire country, like Vancouver to Vancouver in 2 months.
Dang.
And so it was a new city every single day.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that pace is exciting, but at the same time, you're it's like, oh my goodness, like I just want to stay and check out this spot for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, you just don't feel like you
get a snapshot.
Yeah.
But there's so much to see in this country.
Yeah.
It's just so vast.
I know.
What have been some of your...
It doesn't feel like even a year or a couple years is like enough time to...
Oh yeah, it would take a lifetime to really see it all. What have been some of your favorite places that you guys have been?
So far, we've done a lot of traveling before this, like especially in the West. We've done several big road trips, but just in the last few months, I've really loved Sedona. I love the desert. So spending time in Sedona, spending time in Utah, in Capitol Reef National Park and right outside of the park. Joshua Tree, we spent a little bit of time there, but I've been there tons in the past.
I can't remember. Are you a climber or? Yeah. We talked about cliffs, right? Cliffs of Id?
Yes. Yeah. Because I used to climb a hanger in
California.
Right.
Okay. So did you climb out in Joshua Tree at all?
Yeah, we did some climbing.
Sick.
Yeah, I did a little bit of bouldering and some trad climbing, which I was a little rusty at, but it was fun. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have all the trad gear or you do?
Yeah, we have all the gear. We just don't have like bouldering pads. We actually met a friend out there and he brought
there's plenty of friends to make out of J Tree.
Yeah, plenty of people to climb with.
That's cool.
It's fun. So I've been loving just the desert and I feel like I could spend all my time in the desert, but I feel like it'll be fun to see other areas too, because I know nothing about the East Coast, really don't know anything about the South. I'm excited to get up north and spend more time in Montana and Idaho and maybe Canada. We have Canada friends now.
Yeah, that's right. Is that part of the summer plan?
Yeah, I want to make it part of the plan.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot to see.
What would you say have been some of the biggest highlights for you of living in this lifestyle?
I feel like so far it's been a pretty important chapter for me very quickly because, again, I'm very new to it. So I feel like a little baby compared to everyone else here that's been, living on the road for months and years. And it's been more than I even thought it would be because I thought it would just be something new. We would figure out where we're going to live next, see some of the country, spend time outside, and all of that's happening. But I also feel a shift happening inside of me that is just, I think I've been waiting for because I've really been experienced a lot of grief in the past few years and a lot of loss. And it felt, I just felt stuck. I felt like I really have lost like who I used to be. And I don't know how much I should share, but just.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's just it's been a really important shift for me. And I feel like I'm finding myself in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like I knew I would have fun, and I knew that this lifestyle, I thought it would feel pretty natural because I've just been drawn to it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel something shifting inside of me where I just like feel like I'm finding myself again. And it's been awesome. And it's only the beginning, I feel like.
Wow. That's really inspiring. It's so interesting how like that leap of faith into this lifestyle can, like the changes that can come and the experiences and the realizations that can come from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I think also too, like making that leap allows for people to come out and then have an experience like this.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, obviously there's people here who also are camping, and people come here in many different ways, but specifically in our camp, long before we all circled up, everyone was on their own journey and made that conscious choice of like, I'm going to do something different than what my peers are doing and what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really special that we all share that kind of adventurous spirit in common, and then coming together.
It amplifies it.
It amplifies it. And it's cool that, you know, you can share in that solidarity and that camaraderie with other people who decided to make that same leap. Because it is a bit of a leap into the unknown, even though there are thousands, tens of thousands of people who are doing it.
It's a huge leap. Yeah, I think for anyone, it just feels scary because it is different. I mean, you're choosing to live differently than the huge majority of society, and what society tells you is like right and, you know, good and successful. Like everything we own fits inside a, 32-foot RV, and that's not most people's idea of success. Or I think it is different, and it feels different, even though we are surrounded by so many people doing it out here. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot what the question was.
I think that answer, I kind of forgot what the question was.
We all came here on our own journey, and but I think even how we all connected is really cool because, there's plenty of people here that probably, are on there looking for what they're looking for. And I think we all found each other because we came here with an open mind and, took a leap of faith into road life, but also just like walking up and trying to meet people and bringing our camp together and meeting, hanging out at the fire every night, like really engaging and being present. And that says a lot that speaks a lot to everyone that's here and who they are too.
When you first rolled into Skooliepalooza, did you know anybody else who was going to be here?
No.
Wow.
Nobody. Yeah.
Who was your first friend here at Skoolie?
So I met Jamie on WhatsApp through the Skoolie group because I joined it to ask questions about how's the Wi-Fi? I have to work during the week. Yeah. And she reached out and said, hey, I have Starlink if you want to hang out and like work during the day. And so I kind of, I messaged her. So we had connected through WhatsApp so that I could use her Starlink, and I told her I would trade her for snacks, and then, I would make trade. It worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we, met when we got in that night. But on our way into Skoolie, we stopped at the gas station and also ran into Chad and Ashlee. And they were filling up their, rig. And it was kind of just random because we introduced ourselves, but nothing more than that. And then we saw each other again when we came in.
Oh, awesome.
Out of everyone here, we found each other, and then we kind of started our own little group, and then everyone came coming.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I love about this place is just how easy it is to make friends and how natural it is. When I first rolled in on Monday night, Christina just walked up. I opened my door, which I feel is kind of the universal invitation here. It's an open door means come up and say hi.
Yeah.
And a closed door means I'm peeing.
Peeing or napping.
I'm changing. Don't bother me right now.
Yeah.
So I opened my door and it's dark out. I got my lights on. And she walked up and just said hello. And it's
That's awesome.
It's so funny how different that is from normal everyday life.
Yeah.
Like if anybody did that in Los Angeles, you'd be like, what?
I know, but
What?
it's so sad. I mean, how have we lost? I feel like we've lost touch with that because it really is so easy to walk up, say hi, introduce yourself, start a conversation. And I mean, I'll call myself out because I find myself like not always doing that if we're in the city and you kind of just get back into your routine of you go to the coffee shop and you don't take a moment to, really chat with anyone. But there is something special about a place like this where you feel that camaraderie and you automatically can start a conversation about, the van or the RV or whatever. But it's kind of sad that we've lost touch with that in like real life or within society too.
So this is actually a question that we're going to be asking. We're doing like a group podcast tomorrow. And one of the questions that we want to discuss is, what do you feel like you're going to be taking back into the world from this experience?
From Skooliepalooza?
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, I feel like I haven't reflected much on it. I've just been like having fun and enjoying this week, but I could just see myself bringing back maybe that desire to just not be afraid to connect with people, to remember that we're all on our own journey. And whether you're doing road life or not, I think there's always something interesting about someone that you can learn. And even just, when you walked up to the fire the other night, it was so easy to learn about like what you're doing with your life and your podcast and music. And someone, always has a story. And I think I want to just remember that and remember that there's always people that, we can connect with if you put a little bit of effort in.
Yeah.
And I just have loved the communal feeling here. And I want to keep getting inspiration for my future build once we upgrade or do something different. But I'm just enjoying the week. I feel really comfortable in these situations, and it's just really fun to meet new people and be outside. So just more things like this I want to bring into our daily life, and meeting up with all the friends we've made like around the country will be awesome because we're always all on the move. So we can.
Well, glad we have this WhatsApp group now.
I know, it's perfect.
Because I mean, my thought was like, there's no reason why we can't continue to have this, why we can't, like, as we travel, be like, well, I'm in this location, and like,
have everyone,
whoever's around, like meet up and continue that on. Because it is really so cool to be able to just like circle it up, and like come together around a fire. It's like probably one of the most ancient practices of like humans just gathering around a fire and like, living amongst each other, as temporary as it is. It's, it's really special. I love being able to like open my door in the morning and like
see all your friends,
see all these people. Like that is so cool. And that's a big difference too from like living in Los Angeles as a van lifer, where by and large I'm like super
hiding
private and like it's like stealth camping. Whereas this, it's like, no, I want to leave my door open. I want people to come up and say hi. I want to like, for it to feel inviting,
connect,
and like we can share experience and food and laughter and joy with one another. It's like, it's incredible.
And I feel like that can continue with any type of community you have or any friends. Like sometimes, again, I think it can feel scary to like break into that, or even people that have never gone camping before. Like this can feel so out there or so like unusual. But I'm grateful that we also have a great group of friends in both Colorado and California that we've like camped with and gone out to the desert and thrown parties before and had a lot of fun just like being communal, getting out of our daily lives. And I think this is like a very natural next step to like take it to the next level. And then if we just, continue to do it and put the effort into meeting up and making sure that we find community on the road, because it is hard. Like when you're just in your own little world and your own rig every day, this really brings you out of it and reminds you how important it is to connect.
I'm always curious when I interview women who are living in the nomad life, what advice would you impart to, somebody who's really interested in getting in this lifestyle, but is apprehensive? Because I know I have a lot of female friends who are like, man, yeah, I would love to do this, but like, is it dangerous? I don't know. And it's incredible to see such a diverse group of people. But I'm always fascinated by, the female perspective on life on the road as a nomad.
I feel like I have maybe an interesting, or I have a husband. So, we're a team and we work together. And this decision was both of us equally wanting to do it and willing to put in the work. So I don't have the experience of doing it alone, but I do think it's really not as scary as it might seem. I think even if I were alone, I know I could do it. And I would do all the dirty, like dump the black water and like do all that myself. Right now, Kenny does most of that, but I make it cute inside and I decorate. So I might not be the right person to ask, but we're a team, and I don't feel afraid outside either. I think, that's the other part of it that can feel overwhelming, is if you're not comfortable outdoors and adventuring and, but I guess my advice in that realm is to just start, even just find, one friend, if that's what it takes to bring some accountability and help you get more comfortable just going outside and go on a camping trip and set up your tent and maybe do some rock climbing or go on a hike. 'Cause that's important too, to, I think, just get comfortable in the outdoors and become more self-sustainable. That's so important when you're on the road. That's, to me, a huge part of road life, is just learning like, oh, we have to be able to be out, on BLM and sustain ourselves for a week, make sure we have what we need to get back into real life, not get stranded out here. But you can do that on a small scale and go on a camping trip for a weekend. And I think that is important for women to break into that. If it feels scary or if it feels overwhelming, just find one friend and do a little camping trip, then maybe a little backpacking trip, and then, maybe rent a van and go live on the road, or, do a week-long road trip or something. So you can build, and it does feel scary to maybe just jump in all of a sudden. But I think if there's a desire to be in the outdoors and to see more of the world, then you just figure it out as you go, and the comfortability comes along with it, because you just want to be outside and make it happen.
I think that's a really good perspective. And somebody else that I talked to, I can't remember who off the top of my head, but they kind of shared that sense of like, you don't need to like jump in head first. And there's so many ways to go about it. And it might start with like, you throw your sleeping bag in the back of the Subaru and do like a weekend trip.
Yeah, exactly.
And just see what that's like. You don't need to go out, buy a Sprinter van, build it all, and be like, I've committed to this lifestyle. Only to find that it's like not for you.
And that's important, because I think it's probably not for everyone. And it probably would be really disappointing if you felt like, oh, I got to do this because everyone else is doing it, and I'll put all this work and money in just to find out I don't really love hanging out in the desert or something. So it's probably important to like find what you really love and invest in that. If it leads to road life, that's awesome. But for some people, it might not. It might lead to part-time road life. We have friends here doing that, and that's what works for them. So I think you just find what works for you by investing over and over again in what you love. Kenny and I went to Alaska last year. I think that kind of gave us the itch, because we rented a van for about 10 days and then traveled around Alaska in that. And it was a tiny little Recon Envy, I think, with a tiny little bed and a little fridge. But I think that gave us a little bit of the itch, because we were like, oh, this is so easy. You just park and sleep, and then you can do what you want and go hiking, and then pack back up and go where you need to go.
That's really cool.
So that was a little like taste of it, before we really dove in. But we also didn't buy an empty shell and build it all out. We bought something that we just wanted to take on the road. So maybe we've done it a little differently by just doing what works for us.
Did you guys have to sell much stuff, like any of your personal belongings to downsize to go into the RV?
Yeah, we sold pretty much everything, meaning like all our furniture. We sold a lot of stuff. You know, we had a storage room and a 2-bedroom apartment. So we sold a lot of stuff. We spent like probably 3 months or 3 or 4 months just on Facebook Marketplace, like slinging stuff left and right. And my dad lives in Colorado, so we're able to put a little bit of stuff in storage. But I really tried to not overwhelm him. I tried to just do, you know, bigger kitchen things that I know we'll want down the road. But we got rid of a lot, and I downsized like my clothes, and we got rid of a lot of gear. And and even with our huge rig, like it still felt like we were pretty limited with what we could bring.
How did that process feel?
I remember it feeling kind of nerve-wracking, or just, I mean, when you actually sell your bed and your bed frame and your couch, you know, like for some reason the couch was the first thing I listed. Yeah. And it sold in a day. And then I was like, oh, we're still living here for a month and a half and we don't have a couch. So I was sitting on the floor for a month and a half, like hanging out in the living room. And just those things made it feel more real, which I think is exciting, because it made it feel like there's not really, you know, we couldn't really turn back at that point. Yeah. We had decided that we were going to do this. But it also felt like empowering, because it felt like we were just making things happen. And once you get rid of the couch, it kind of gets addicting. You want to get rid of the table and the bed and get everything out of there. And just like, it felt like a fresh start. So, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of dream about like minimal
the purge,
like the purge for real.
Yeah.
It's funny because even in a small space like the van, I find that there's still things that I'm like, I don't need this. Get it out of here.
Yeah, it's so easy to just accumulate or think that you need it just in case. But I'm already finding that too.
Like what have you guys found that you just do not actually use or do not need?
I feel like just random kitchen item. Well, actually, I'm pretty good with the kitchen stuff. I have found like why do I have so many mugs when I use the same 2 mugs, every day? But I thought I'd want to have like a different mug every day, because that's what I had at home. And so we already got rid of some mugs. And I don't know, just little, like, I guess we did do a purge, and I got rid of like a cast iron pan, because I had 3. I thought I needed 3 cast iron pans. Wow. Yeah. But then we also had Christmas with family, and then we kind of reaccumulated things. So it's just a constant process, probably.
Yeah. For me, it was the, what is it called? The magic bullet.
Yeah. The little blender.
Yeah. When
you got rid of it?
I did. I thought that I was going to be making smoothies every day. I was like, this is going to be the perfect van life appliance. And then I don't even know. Maybe I made one smoothie.
Yeah.
After a while, I was like, I gotta get rid of this thing. This just does not deserve to be in my van right now.
Yeah. So. I feel like I'll find those things over time. Because right now, I think I'm still like, we'll use that someday, or it feels necessary. But I'm sure in the next 3 or 6 months, I'll be, or probably even like a month or 2, I'll be reassessing what we actually need.
Was there anything that you wish that you had? Like on the outside of it?
Yes. I feel like this week has shown me that I was almost too minimal in some areas, because I told you I have stick and poke tattoo stuff. Yeah. And I left it behind in storage. Man.
You would have made a killing this week.
I know. I could have just been slinging tattoos for everyone. But I mean, I'm really not that good. I need to practice. But it's just like fun. And I think in my head I was being too logical about we're on the road. I was thinking about just working and kind of the bare minimum of what we needed. Yeah. And I wish I brought just fun stuff. Like I do macrame, or I was doing macrame for a long time, and I didn't bring any of those supplies because I just thought it would take up
all
space.
That here too, man.
I know. I was just being very too logical. Yeah. So I wish I had more fun things with me. I have some paint and but I think I just got rid of too much of the fun stuff, and now I want to reacquire some of the things that we can just do on the weekends when we're hanging around camp, or I want to get a frisbee, didn't bring a frisbee. Yeah. Just random, things like that I didn't bring.
Yeah. I've been glad that the weights that I've had in my van have been getting put to good use this week.
Yeah. You have a whole gym set up
because they've just been sitting in my van for this whole year, and I never get the chance to use them because I'm always in LA. And so
you don't just want to go on the street and Be swinging the kettlebell.
Maybe if I looked like a little bit more of a fitness guy, that might fit. I think at this point I might just look like a tweaker.
You could do it in this outfit too. It'd look great. Just completes the outfit.
Oh my God. In the Carhartts doing curls on the sidewalk on Abercrombie. Actually, on Abercrombie, I think nothing is out of place.
No one would even turn their heads.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. What, you mentioned wanting to get out to the East Coast and see some stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
What, is there anything specific that you really want to go see out there on the East Coast?
I really want to see a lot of national parks. So I feel like that's kind of the goal right now. I don't know much about what's over there. So it's been really fun to meet other people that have traveled and get their recommendations because I just haven't done any research. But mostly the national parks I think will be fun to see, like the Great Smoky Mountains. And I've heard the Blue Ridge Mountains are really beautiful. Maybe make it down to like the Everglades in Florida. I don't really know. But then I hear about like the spring in Florida that you can kayak in. And I want to go to those little hidden gems too. So I'd love to make it up to Maine and see that in the summer. We have some friends up in Maine.
So pretty.
I know. I've never been to like, well, I shouldn't say never. I actually did a ride across America, a bike ride in 2016.
No way.
So I've been through some states, but
that's cool.
Yeah, ended in New York, but I really haven't seen
where did you start?
Florence, Oregon.
No way.
Yeah, that was in 2016 with a team from my college. We rode and raised money for Charity Water.
Damn.
So I feel like I've done kind of this cross-country journey in some way before, and but it was different. You know, I was younger, and
how long did it take you guys?
It took 50 days, so we were moving pretty fast.
Whoa. How many miles a day? Like 60 miles a day?
Between 60 and 80, kind of depended, how tired we were.
Man.
And then we'd take a rest day every week.
How much training did it take for you to get ready for that trip?
Not much, which looking back, I think I just owe a lot of it to the fact that we were young and we were just excited and amped to go. Like we just wanted to make it happen.
Wow.
So we trained like for maybe 6 months beforehand, but
okay. I mean, that's still pretty solid.
I bought my bike, I think 6 months before we left. And so that shows like, I was just down for the adventure and like had never really even been into cycling before. So we all just figured it out.
Did you have to pack a lot of supplies? Like what were the logistics like of that trip?
We had 2 drivers. So we had a van, which allowed us to move a lot faster because we weren't bike packing. So that's why we were able to cover more ground, cover it faster. We had them, like we had all our gear in the van, our food. They helped us coordinate lodging along the way too, which was really helpful. So we could just focus on riding and then meeting people in all the different towns and sharing about our purpose for the ride. So,
wow. How much money did you guys raise?
So we also had a men's team doing the same trip, but a different route across the country. And all together we raised about $75,000 for Charity Water. So it was epic.
So cool.
It kind of feels like a far away. I mean, it was about 8 years ago. So it feels, I forget about it sometimes. Like Kenny even reminded me, like, oh, you have this. It's kind of cool to see this full circle, trip across the country, or like now we're doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I kind of even forget like, oh yeah, I've been to like New York or I've been to Pennsylvania, but it was just such a different, I guess, context to the whole thing. So we didn't really sightsee. We were just like literally riding down highways all the time. So I think this feels like a totally different trip.
What was the finish line in New York?
It was, I think, technically right across the water. So we might have been in New Jersey, but we dipped our front tires in the Atlantic after dipping our back tires in the Pacific.
Wow.
So it was an awesome trip.
That is so cool. That's a dream of mine.
Really?
Is to ride my bicycle across the United States. I've never done it.
You should do it. We can share our route with you.
Yeah. I mean, so real quick then, like from Florence to New York, did you stay like pretty much like in the north and then dip under the Great Lakes? Or?
Yep, exactly that. Yeah, because we went through, I don't know if I can name
Idaho,
all the states.
Montana.
Not Montana. We were a little bit south from there. So we did Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska. I might be forgetting one. Nebraska. And then I think Illinois, Indiana.
Okay.
This is testing my geography. And then like kept going from there. Yeah. Ohio,
the other ones.
Yeah. So it was a good route though. The men's team went north. So they went from started in Washington, went through Montana. So there's a couple different options you could do, but
And what time of year?
it was in the summer. We left in May and ended in July. But we moved fast.
I feel like that'd be a pretty hot time.
Oh yeah, I got heat stroke in
Oh my God.
in Iowa or Nebraska. A couple people on our team did. So I don't totally recommend that time of year, but that's when we went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then after you finished this 50-day long excursion, what did you do with the bike? Did you sell it? Were you like, I'm done with this?
No, it's on the back of Harvey right now. That's
no
my
way.
bike.
So it's a road bike. It's not like a mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Yeah.
So cool.
I'm definitely way too emotionally attached to it to ever sell it. I mean, even if it just sits in storage, I'll just ride it into the ground. But I'm still riding it. I take care of it. And it's probably got, I don't even know how many thousands of miles on it now. But I love that bike. And it's been with me. Now it's going, I guess, with me across the country again. So that's beautiful. Exciting. Yeah.
Do you have any more like big type of trips that you want to do? Like what's on the bucket list?
Oh, bucket list. I would love to do more bike packing. I think doing something where I'm like packing my gear on the bike, maybe doing the Continental Divide from Canada to Mexico would be really fun.
Wow.
And yeah, or doing like some cycle touring in other countries would be awesome. I would love to do more international travel too. So we've kind of already been talking about like, okay, should we, what's next? Like, do we get a van in Europe and go travel around Europe for a year? Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of the natural. It seems like there are people even here that are kind of thinking of that next step. And like, you just start dreaming bigger and bigger. And so I think that would be awesome. Like go live in another country or another, continent and travel around the same way. Cause it's so much cheaper. It's more, I think, more resourceful. Yeah. So I would say those are maybe my bucket list. Currently, my bucket list items. Yeah.
And is Kenny also a big cyclist?
I kind of got him into it. He's not like as maybe passionate, but yeah, he loves to ride. He's a natural, and we've done some good rides in Colorado and I guess a few in California too. So
well, if you guys ever do the Continental Divide,
I'll let you know.
Hit me up because that'd be awesome. We get a little group going.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone else that wants to do it too. So now we have a team ready. Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely the place where you're going to meet people who are going to want to do those types of things. I met a guy on day 2 here he's from Costa Rica and he's riding a 150cc motorcycle from Costa Rica to Alaska and then down to Patagonia.
150 is not that big, right? Okay.
He's not taking highways.
Wow. That's cool.
He's only taking back roads.
All the way up to where?
Alaska.
And then down to Patagonia?
Yes.
Dang, that's really cool.
Yeah. And I mean,
that's a journey.
Honestly, more power to him. He's probably getting amazing gas mileage besides the fact that he is packing all this stuff on a tiny little bike.
Dang, having to set up camp every day.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I haven't quite done. I mean, other than backpacking, but I haven't. Yeah, that'll be new when I get into bike packing and if it's a really long trip and it's, a month or two and you're having to set up camp every day. I would also love to do, I just thought of something else, like some sort of long trail. So the JMT or the PCT.
Yeah.
That feels like kind of unattainable to me. I think even when I think about bike touring, I feel like, oh yeah, I'll do that someday. But when I think about the PCT, that feels scary to me. I would really have to.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, that would be pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Yeah. So that's on the list too.
Yeah, I would really want to do the PCT at some point in time.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome, another way to see the country in such a different way.
Yeah. When you envision the future and you're thinking about nomadic living, do you imagine that, and this is obviously a hard question, because who knows what the future holds, but do you imagine always being on the road in some type of way? Do you imagine eventually putting down roots somewhere to stay, or it being kind of somewhere in between? What does that look like for you guys?
Oh, yeah. I haven't thought. I feel like we finally took this leap into something new. I haven't totally thought about what's next or the long-term aspect of it. But I think even now I could see myself always just kind of striving for something different and something new and not just for the chase, but for just, experiencing the outdoors or being renting a van and driving around to see that place in a different way, or riding a bike through to see that place in a different way. Like, I think that will always be a part of my makeup and a part of my, deep desire. It is hard for me to see like settling down in the city and buying a house and like living there for the next 40 years. That doesn't feel quite right for me. And it doesn't for Kenny either. Which is great that we're on the same page about that. Like,
it's probably important.
That would be bad. So I think we're just open-minded, and we're both like kind of ready for whatever comes. And that might mean, we find this city we really like and we want to stay for a little bit. But I don't think either of us are looking to like be set for life and settle down per se. I feel like I'm finally getting out in the world again in a lot of ways. So I think it'll always be a part of my life. I mean, road life is still so new to me, so it's hard to say if we would be on the road forever. But I think just exploring and being curious and adventurous will always be a part of who I am. Yeah.
And well, this has been awesome.
Thanks for
I'm
chatting.
glad that we got to do this. Shout out to Nathan and Lexi for letting us use their van. Oh my goodness.
Like, they have excerpts from Walden in the wall here.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Probably one of the most beautiful van builds that I've seen. This is just like unreal.
I love it.
Do you have any kind of social media that you want people to follow or to check out?
Sure. I have just my personal Instagram. It's very long, but it's Ashlee McConnellani.
Okay.
So if you want to try to type that
I'll
out
put that
and
link
find it
in the description.
I'm not sure if I should spell it. That's pretty much it. We haven't really gotten into the whole like social media. It'd be fun we've talked about trying to do like YouTube videos, but it seems like a lot of work too. So we're just like taking things as we go. And
no rush into that.
Yeah.
Man, well, thank you so much, Ashlee. This has been
thanks for having me on the Spring Street podcast.
On the Spring Street pod.
This was fun.
Out at Skooliepalooza in the desert. Live. Man, with all the chaos of paragliding, parasailing, and dirt bikes and dogs and
the
fire.
The sunset happened right above us.
So many cool things.
Yeah, it's been super fun. And now I think we're having taco night tonight,
yes. So let's get those tacos. So thank you so much,
cool.
Ashlee.
Thank you. This was fun.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Spring Street podcast. If you'd like to support the show, sign up for the Patreon to receive exclusive behind-the-scenes content and check out the sponsor links in the description.